also, I think that's the benefit of the Krakoan era, is that you have all of these mutants who are all over the place, and like you can just have them pop up and show up in random books, and it's like I don't think you really have to make a big deal about it anymore. It's just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what you doing? Come help us on our mission. Like Shatterstar's there. Why is Shatterstar there? Because
I
Richter's
was gonna
there.
ask, what is he doing?
He hanging out with his boyfriend. That's all. It is like, why not? Like, I'm on this island of mutants, and like, you want a mission? Sure, yeah, let me go along with you because what else are we doing?
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun to see. Betsy's got a little bit of her. Ooh, child. Hello.
Things are gonna get easier. A
Hello,
classic, right?
everybody. Welcome back to another relaunch. Do we still have to say our names? Like, do I still have to introduce myself as Keenan? I feel like people know.
You want to
now,
be
right?
somebody else? Yeah, you want to be somebody else. Who you want to be?
I can be Jacques. I'm gonna be Jacques.
Okay. And I am going to be Eric Maximoff.
Okay.
Or Lyncher. I like Lyncher, actually. Yeah.
Why does he have two different? What's the
He changed
story
his
with
name
the two
because,
last names?
you know.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Shout out to him. Okay, welcome back to another relaunch, guys. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I started watching Doom Patrol, Doom Patrol this morning,
Okay.
and that was
How was it?
that was
Is it
really
really as good
interesting.
as people say? Because I've seen people like it brought an Emmy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a really good show. So I think a good comparison is obviously Titans because you know they kind of started on the same networks together. But I think the thing that really turned people off from Titans was how dark it was. It was like really like kind of cheap, kind of dark. It changed all these characters. It made them very like gritty and grimy, and it was like, oh, this is depressing. Doom Patrol completely goes the opposite way. It embraces the weirdness of it. It's very fun. It's and it like it does get deep with the characters a lot, but it's good. The guy who plays Cyborg is really good. The girl who plays Jane, Diane Guerrero, I think she is amazing because you know
Oh,
the character Jane has like
homegirl from
different
Orange is the New Black.
personalities. Yes, exactly. She's got like 99 personalities or whatever in her body, and like so obviously her character has to switch between the different personalities, and like she does it fantastically. Like it's really good acting on her part. So this new season started. The first episode kind of had like some horror vibes. It's October, Halloween's right around the corner, so I'm like on a horror kick right now, obviously. And then
Mm.
Michelle Gomez is also appearing in this season,
Oh, okay.
and she's good. And Brendan Fraser's in it, and like Brendan Fraser got like a really bad rap in Hollywood, and he was done pretty bad. But I think he's amazing, and he does a really good job
Yeah,
as the Robot Man. He's funny, so it's a good. I like recommend it. I like at least try out the first season. It's weird, but I feel like Doom Patrol is weird.
that's fair. I haven't really watched
So
it. I don't know if Doom Patrol is like. I never really gotten into that team like in the comics either. I only know about them as like that's where Beast Boy started, and before he
yeah,
left and became a
and
Titan.
I guess that's also another thing. It's like to really get into Doom Patrol, it's you have to kind of be into Doom Patrol. It's very
I will say I finished
uh,
Castlevania, and
oh.
yeah, it was good. I will say that season 3 was not as good as the other first 2
Oh,
seasons.
season 3 was bad.
Yeah, it was like now the animation and stuff was good. I thought the Carmilla fight at the end was like a little rushed because like she was just kind of running and slashing and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
season 4 was very much, hey, this is the end. So like let's just
We
give them
going out with the bang.
what they want to see
Like
because
we
Cypher.
went out with the bang. Cypher worked. Like Cypher, baby.
That
Like
girl,
on the scene where she like did the ice on the spears and then she heated it up and so like they went out and killed the monsters. Everything when she started manifesting electricity,
electricity.
everything.
Oh my gosh. I was like, this is
It
it.
all, it all worked. It all worked. There's going to be a sequel to it as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's going to be about the son that she's pregnant with.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna tap
Yeah,
in then.
yeah, yeah. So
'Cause I think I
everyone
might.
get ready for that. It's very
Yeah.
exciting. Very exciting. And speaking of exciting things, let's go ahead and get to these comics of the week. So, first up on our list, I didn't read this. Captain Marvel number 33. And this is
Okay.
still written by Kelly Thompson, I assume. And who's doing the art? Is it still Lee
Yes, the
Garbett?
art is no, the artist changed to Sergio Davila. He did the last issue. He's been doing this last of the Marvels arc. I don't know if he's gonna do the whole thing, but so far he's been doing it, and amazing job. I really enjoy the art in this. Um, it's very like action packed. Again, this last of the Marvels arc for me has been a lot of fun. If there's one thing I love to see, is superheroes like using their powers and like just doing some stuff. And
Yeah.
the last issue was about this dark Captain Marvel who she fought, and she took the suit. By the end of the issue, she took the suit off them. We learned that it was actually Philavelle from the Guardians of the Galaxy, who was actually in the suit.
Queenie.
So she tries to figure out, okay, well, are the other Marvels, are the other suits like Marvel related? Like, what's going on? Because she found out that Ms. Marvel was being attacked by them, and also a suit was like being put on them. These suits are made of this like goo kind of whatever, so like it like creeps on you, kind of like a venom stuff, like a symbiote kind of thing, where this creeps up on you or whatever if it gets on you. And lucky enough, she got Ms. Marvel away in this issue and tried to fly away, but the other ones went too fast for her, and she's been having to fight off. This issue is basically her fighting off 4 Dark Captain Marvels, and she uses her photon eye blast again, and she was like, I didn't like using this before, but it kind of worked last time, and I don't like being blind, but I gotta use it. And Ms. Marvel wakes up. They have a cute little team up, which is fun. And one of the Dark Captain Marvels starts to like glow blue, and it's Spectrum, and she's
I was
coming
about to
out
say, it
of
sounds
it
like
using her
Monica.
energy powers. Yeah, it was Monica. And she's like, she knows that Carol can absorb energy. So she like tried to escape the suit in her energy form, and she touched Carol, and like instantly Carol got this information of like these coordinates, and then Monica had to go back into the suit and had to fight Carol again. So she's like trying to get away, and ultimately she calls her sister the accuser, and her sister was able to take Ms. Marvel away and get her out of here, get her free, take her to Tony Stark, who was able to help previously get the suits off. So she takes her to Ms. Marvel. He's like, hey, can you like help get a little bit of the suit off from her? And of course, Iron Man is like, yes, I can do that, but like, where's Carol? And L'Oreal's like, yeah, she told me not to worry about it, that she was going to take care of it and just be here to help out. And Tony was like, you didn't want to help her, like she didn't give us coordinates of where she was going or anything. She's gonna just run off and do this by herself. And L'Oreal was like, she said she would call us if she needed us. And I thought that was a cute moment to show you that like Carol sometimes can be really stubborn if she's like wants to prevent anything from getting worse. So she ends up going to the coordinates that Monica gave her, and it is actually where Vox Supreme is. But it turns out that Vox has taken anyone who with the kind of the Marvel name, as well as he looks like he resurrected Guinness Bell.
Oh wow!
And during the previous fight that she was having with these other 3, she kept trying to call for help to any Avengers that could come and help her. And Spider-Woman showed up, as well as I can't think of her name right now. She was in Young Avengers. The new like young kids. Her name's Jennifer with the radiation blast.
Oh, Hazmat.
Hazmat. Yeah, there we go. Hazmat. And so basically, and Rhodey, they all came to try to help her, but ultimately they ended up getting turned into suits too. And when she gets, what's up?
Why those 3? Like, I get why those 3. Obviously, like,
right.
Spider-Woman was her best friend, Rhodey. Hazmat's kind of been like. Do you like the relationship with Carol and Hazmat?
Do you think yes, she's been fun, like a fun little
Do you think
sidekick.
that should be like her new like I was about to say her new like sidekick? Remember how you and I have talked about like Miss Marvel, Kamala, Carol, that relationship, and you said you always kind of felt like the person who Carol works with should be a little bit more bombastic with their powers. Is
Hmm.
Hazmat that character? Do you think?
No, no, she's not bombastic enough. we we need someone to be a little bit more than that. And actually, this issue kind of showed again, kind of what I thought about with Carol and Kamala, where yes, they share the name, and and that's kind of where Kamala started. But I still don't really get the vibe that that Kamala should be under the Marvel,
Yeah,
like tree or whatever, because I just don't feel like that she fits. I
Carol's
feel like
world.
she's too. Yeah, I feel like she's too good. Like I feel
Yeah,
like Ms. Marvel's like a little. She's too good to be with
yeah.
that. I think she needs someone a little different. But that's what we got. So she makes an appearance in this. They have a fun time. She ends up getting her out of there, so she's safer. Carol finds out that Vox Supreme has taken all these people and trying to turn them into dark suits. The last time they fought, Carol trapped him in this suit, in this like cage that he was trying to use to like get DNA to like make himself super strong. Well, he fixed that like coffin and trapped her in it and floated her
Mm.
out into space because he says, "I'm going to change the world, but you're no longer invited in it." And he said,
Mm.
this like coffin is something that is tailor made to keep you in it." And he's just shot her out into space, and that's how the issue ends. So
Okay.
I don't know how she's really going to get out of it. I really enjoyed this issue. Lots of action-packed stuff. I'm really enjoying this last of the Marvels arc.
Is this like the end of the book? Like, is this like
I
is
don't
it
think
going
so.
to a finale? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Um.
I think this is just like I honestly think this is a way to kind of really clean up anything for how Carol is as a character with her powers and how she is developing new powers with her
Mm-hmm.
photon energy and stuff, as well as probably even further cementing her that she is Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Because in this issue, when she gets to the planet that Vox Supreme is on, she's like, I remember this place. And it turns out it's where the original male Captain Marvel died. I don't know if anyone
Mm.
remembers that he died and when he came back to life during I think AVX, the Phoenix Force was like going through the Kree area and he got resurrected. Turns out that like his body, along with the Phoenix Force, or some comic books, it like turned into a planet. So that's where Vox Supreme is.
uh, okay. So I guess like once all this is done and like this whole like Last of the Marvels thing has happened, what are you kind of hoping for from this book? Like, are you ready for like Carol's mission statement to change? Do you want like a new costume? Do you want her to go somewhere else? I know you like love a space adjacent thing and you kind of want her to go back out to space, but I guess where do you want like the character to go?
I still really want her to go out into space. I do think the costume could probably change. I feel like it's beginning. I mean, it's old, but like it's kind of like her iconic Captain Marvel costume at this point. But I do think it's time for like a little bit of a redesign, some kind of updating. Um, I would just like her to continue to like be the one kind of driving herself. Things kind of keep happening to her, but I would hope that like after we are done with like the Last of the Marvels arc and Vox Supreme is done attacking her, that now we can kind of take a breather where she is making the decisions for herself.
I think that
The last time we saw her
I
making
mean,
decisions for herself, she was trying to like get better with magic, and that was actually a really great arc because
yeah.
we saw a lot of like her conflicts with herself, and we saw her kind of grow.
So that's what I was about to say. I was about to say I really think for whatever goes forward with Carol, I think I would like to. I mean, I'm not going to read it, so this is just like hyperbole, but I think that I would like to see her interacting with other characters. That's kind of why I was asking like the
Mm,
like Spider Woman, Hazmat, Rhodey. Like, yes, I get it. These are like her best friends, the people she's been closest with, but it also like it kind of starts to feel the same after a while, a little bit. I get.
yeah.
Uh, and so it's like when she was with Doctor Strange, I remember you said you were really excited about that because it's not someone you see her with very often, and B, it's such a totally
Hmm.
different area for her. I would like to see a little bit more of that for her to kind of like push her out of her comfort zone. Like maybe if
Actually,
filler was to
I
start.
kind of agree with that. Maybe what I would what be the kind of story I wanted out in space could actually happen on Earth and with other like characters in the Marvel universe. Kind of like I said before, where I feel like a lot of Marvel characters are kind of missing. That would be a great chance for her to just kind of like, I don't know, tap into other characters and showcase them as well instead of creating new ones out in space. She could do it on Earth.
That's a word. That's a word.
I would also give this. I would give this issue a 4 out of 5. Things were really heating up for this. I liked it a lot.
Okay, shout out to that. Go off, Kelly Thompson and Captain Marvel fans. Congratulations. It's been a long road.
It's been a long road. It's been a long road. But Kelly Thompson she really turned the ship around after Civil War II. So I'm happy for that.
Good. Speaking of turning the ship around, the next book on our list is Excalibur number 24. This comes from Teenie Howard and Marcus Toe. And I don't know if you've seen, but the public opinion is like really shifting on this book.
It seems as though people are kind of liking it. I'm not reading it, but I do think that people are like liking it a lot more now.
You should pick it back up. It's fine. Everybody knows like Teenie's my girl, and I think that a lot of problems that she had were things that she was working on consistently as this book has started from number 1. And I think a lot of people kind of forgot to meet her where she was at a little bit and where she was trying to become. And I feel like now she's once again like really starting to like hit that next level of her writing, and like plots are coming together a little bit more. Personality is showing. I think that's honestly the biggest thing. Like characters actually are really showcasing personality in the story. I will say that I still feel like Gambit and Jubilee are completely pointless to the series, and they do not need to be in it whatsoever. But like she at least gives them something to do this issue. So we kind of start out. Betsy is in Severus. She's meeting with the vampires, and she's trying to figure out why there are assassins coming to attack them from the last issue where they were with Dr. Doom. They're like giving her the runaround, so she actually goes to see Death, who's been hanging out in Savalith, and he's the Horseman Apocalypse's son, and they are like sword fighting and talking, and she's like, stuff is going on, what's happening? He's like, somebody is raging a war against the mutants in Otherworld, you need to be ready. He says you can support her. They have a little moment. She talks about like their sword fighting. He's like, oh, you are good. She's like, did Iska lie about me? And he's like, no. She like regretted that she didn't have more time with you. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about, Teenie. Let the people know. What did I say? Betsy was tagging her before Saturnine interfered. But everybody wanted to jump on me, but it's like, it's good to get that confirmed. So that was like a really exciting thing to see. We see Gambit, he's in the crooked market, like stealing things for the people of the town. He comes in with Mad Jim, and he's like, don't conduct any business in my like little market without me knowing. He puts someone like this cat maid outfit. Which I heard that a lot of the Gambit fans didn't really enjoy, but it's Gambit, so whatever. Jubilee is hanging out in Roma's core of part of Otherworld, and Shogo is riding around as a dragon. Basically, it seems like she's coming to the conclusion that she might have to leave Shogo in Otherworld so he can be a dragon and like be happy. I don't know if this is like the way they're trying to get rid of the baby for Jubilee, which I think is kind of a cop-out. I know parents in Marvel comics or just comic books in general aren't always the most popular, and people have trouble navigating them. But again, I think that is like something that should be seen. We might not see everybody. Me and you have talked about this before, and how I thought like Sue Storm's thing should be she should go collect like all the moms of the Marvel universe and just like hang out and kind of work with them about being like the Supergirl mom. Like Jubilee can do that as well, but whatever. Also, I think Jubilee's story has been a little stagnant since the baby came in. So, but
if they do more with it, I would prefer that rather than just like, oh, let's just dump him off in the Otherworld. Let him
stay a dragon. He's a baby. But whatever. They go back. We also go back to the plot line about the alternate reality captains that we got back in like issue 10, where they were like Gambit, Jubilee, Rogue, and Richter became Captain Britons. They've been like the Rogue ones. I'm not gonna lie to you. I honestly forgot that plot point existed. So shout out to Teenie for bringing it back, but they're having court about, what they're going to do with them. And Betsy gives like this speech about how they're real people and how they deserve to be captains and not get erased. We also get the return of Lord Mandragon, who is from like the 80s Alan Moore Captain Britain stuff. He was like the Magistrix for a while. He hates Saturnine, or he hated Saturnine back then. He's a black guy, so that's why it's very poignant.
Oh, cool. That's
So
dope. Okay.
yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool to see him again pop up. While Betsy's giving her speech, Merlin pops in. He is like, of course, mad, talking about how he hates the mutants. He's brought King Arthur back, and they just start fighting. All the Braddocks, Excalibur's there. B, the Blood Moon, is also a part of this issue. She was hanging out with Richter and Shatterstar. They were exploring Dryador, and she was just kind of talking about how when that whole team during Excess Wars came and like killed everybody in Dryador, and like they're talking about the path to Amenth that's a little bit farther away, and like Richter's like, I don't know if I should open that. Well, he says he's not going to open the door, but like Apocalypse is there. He's there happy with his wife and all that stuff. So it was like nice to see all these characters. I know some people were kind of wondering why B showed up, but I think obviously they were exploring Dryador. It was like she was a part of the massacre of all that. And then also, I think that's the benefit of the Krakoan era, is that you have all of these mutants who are all over the place, and like you can just have them pop up and show up in random books. And it's like, I don't think you really have to make a big deal about it anymore. It's just kind of like, oh, what you doing? Come help us on our mission. Like Shatterstar's there. Why is Shatterstar there? Because Richter's
I was
there.
going to ask, what is he doing?
He hanging out with his boyfriend. That's all. It is like, why not? Like, I'm on this island of mutants, and like, you want a mission? Sure, yeah, let me go along with you, because what else are we doing? So that was kind of fun to see. Betsy's got a little bit of her bite. She makes some comments to people how she's going to destroy them, and how she's going, like, it was cute. I was like, I don't know who's influencing the doll right now, but she's like, got it back a little bit.
She's back to being Betsy a little bit. That's good. I think that you got to give it a little bit of credit for the road that Betsy went on, because it would have been easy to kind of just do disassembled again right at the beginning. But I think sometimes when you are fixing something like this, a body swap or whatever that lasted for so long, and then that character became so iconic in that version or whatever, that like you can instantly just have one issue where it's say, okay, well, we changed it back to whatever it is now without actually going through the story. But I think you have to give some kind of credit that Betsy basically had to be rebuilt, It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun the long ride there. The journey wasn't always fun.
Child, like fighting every day of my life back against the wall. But I mean, again, I say this every single time. I think what Teenie tried to do, or like what she had to do with Betsy, was kind of like an impossible situation, and she did it to the best of her ability in terms of, once again, reconciling Betsy's history as a Captain Britain character with her history as an X-Men character, and then also like trying to fix the 30 years of mess that comes within like the racial implications of the body swap with her and Quanon and all the stuff that's gone in there. And it's like, I do think that there were some things that we didn't necessarily have to have in there to get there, but we're there now. Can't change. Like, this was the story she wanted to tell. I respect the story that she wanted to tell. And that's all that is for that.
And she's Captain Britain now. It feels like she's like finally starting to be that.
Yeah, she's Captain Britain. She uses the Starlight Sword, and I've realized now that there's a distinction when she uses it. Because at first I was kind of like, what is the point of the sword? But whenever she is doing like official Otherworld business or fighting for Otherworld, I noticed that's when she uses the Starlight Sword. In any other time, she uses her own regular telekinetic sword.
Oh, okay.
So
official business for the Starlight Sword. Otherwise, she just uses her own powers. That's cool.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's cute. But yeah, it was like a fun issue. I'd rate it like a 3.5 out of 5. I think Toe's art was actually really strong here. Again, it truly feels like the two have like come together.
At the finish line.
The book ends in like 2 months, but we'll see. I know the line is supposed to be getting relaunched. A couple of things, they might just come back for the relaunch. I know Marauders is getting a different team, but Excalibur might have the same one. So
we'll see. Things are shaking up. I mean, I know that like New York Comic Con is happening soon. Sometimes there's like drops and stuff during that, so who knows?
I think it's happening right now.
Oh, well, maybe they might be spilling some tea.
I think it's this week. Yeah, I don't think so. But it is what it is. Next up on our list is another fun X book, Hellions 16, Zeb Wells and Steven Segovia. Yes, I'm not gonna lie, I picked this up.
Oh, you tap back in. I know that they've got that girl you don't like.
I thought I like everyone. Um, no, I
Now
thought there was gonna be more
everybody know
Tarn
you
in this.
lying.
I thought there was gonna be more Tarn in this issue, and there wasn't. And so
Uh-oh.
a lot of emotional stuff happens in this issue. You know, we come off the
Yes.
conflict of Havoc blowing it up, and like we lose Quan's daughter, and like everybody's sad, and they're losing their friends, and they're mad, and the lies are everything's coming to a head. But it's like, I guess I'm supposed to feel bad for everyone, but they're like kind of bad people.
They are the hell. They are like,
And so it's
ain't it
like
the point in the
maybe
Hellions?
I
They're all
lack
bad
empathy.
people.
Maybe I lack empathy. Oh, does that make me a bad person? Um, but I just don't. I just don't. I don't feel bad for anybody. It's like, yes, the situation is sad, but it's kind of like the situations they're dealing with are
Damn.
sad, but it's kind of like, oh my god, like look at what you guys have been doing.
You don't feel for the? I feel for Havoc. I feel like he's been manipulated the most in this. He really just be out here trying, and he did not want to blow up the stuff. He really
Havoc.
didn't want to blow it up. Like all of a sudden, Empath like whispers in his ear, "Oh, thanks for doing this," and he just blows up the whole thing. He's like, "What the hell?"
But that also was like the story of Alex
And they
Summers.
keep dangling Madeline in front of him.
Emma's like a bad person. Emma's a bad person, and I'm sorry. And it's like I know the Emma fans like might not want to accept it, and they say, "Oh, you know, she's doing it for the greater good." But it's like again, this is what the thing. It's like the greater good through bad means is still bad. Yes,
I agree. It's still bad.
it's like it's still bad. So it's like she can, you know. And again, even when it comes to it,
I
it's like,
mean, it's bad technically, yes, but sometimes it's necessary.
but it's still bad.
Yes.
And because it's like even so, it's like
Oh yes.
when you kind of look at it, when I look at Emma and a lot of these things she's doing, you know, she can give all the speeches she wants about the children and doing it for her ever, but she is doing it for herself.
But think of the kids. But what of the children?
But like she's doing it for herself, so she can be in a
Yes.
position of power to like control what happens and do all these things. So it's like you're a bad person,
hmm Do you think
but
she
it's
honestly
interesting.
really is going to ask the council again about Madeline? Because we see in this that Havoc is having a problem with like being manipulated, basically, like about killing everybody, because he said he'd never want to do that again. Um, and also, was that like a shout out to when he killed Storm, or like when he thought he killed Storm back in the Outback era?
Oh, I didn't think
Because when
about
he
that.
said he didn't want to do it again, I was like, he never did it before in this run. So like,
Mhm. I didn't think about that. That would be a nice cute callback. Shout out to the
I
Outback
thought it
era.
was a call.
Iconic.
I thought it was a callback to that, unless it meant the part when he was blowing up that original farm, clone farm at the first beginning, where Madeline was. But I don't think that was all on purpose. So I think it's a
Mm.
callback to the Outback era. But he's having a whole breakdown, and Emma is like, I asked the council again. Like she like brings it out of the blue too. Like in the middle of the conversation, it's like, oh, I asked the council again to bring Madeline back. We're gonna talk about it, and he is feeling ecstatic about it because it's like, oh, you're on the council. They gotta listen to you, so
Mm.
it's gotta happen. To me, that felt like it was like not really real.
So I do think she is going to try and ask the council about Maddie, only because I saw her on a future cover for like the December issue. However, again, I don't think it's because it's like, for genuine appreciation of Havoc or like she's just trying to shut him up.
Right, so she could use them later.
Exactly. She's not a good
hmm
person. And like that's
No,
fine because it's
it's
interesting and it's fun to
manipulation.
read about. But like she's not a good person.
Oh yeah, I like when she shake it up. It's fine.
She's been having, shout out to Emma Frost. She has been having quite the year. Like we talk, she might get a little annoying sometimes, but she's been in every book. She's been doing her thing. She's been planting her seeds. She's been controlling the girls. She's been running the show on the low. She's having a moment. This is her era.
The Krakoa era has really been nice to Emma. I don't like
Mm-hmm.
her like that, but like I could understand where people could kind of grow from that fascination with her from this era because like she's been doing the damn thing. I'm not gonna
I had
hate.
someone tweet me. I had someone tweet me the other day asking me if I was reading Marauders, and I was like, "Yeah, I used to." And they were like, "Emma Frost is that bitch," and I was just like, "Oh, okay."
Oh.
I was just like, "All right, that's
All
cool,
right.
good for her." Um,
It's
but that was
Emma.
that.
I wouldn't go that
And
far. That's good.
also, I think Hellions is a really good example of how, like a lot of D through like Z-list characters get their fandoms. Like, I'm
Yes.
100%
The
sure
moments with
that in
Nanny
about
in this
10,
have like been pretty great.
people love Nanny. I've been seeing people tweet that
Hmm.
like they hope Nanny's in a book post Hellions. When have you ever heard anyone say they want a Nanny in a book?
Not before this. Not before this.
And it's like, I can guarantee you in about 10 to 15 years, there's going to be somebody who's like, oh, I want a Wild Child solo because of how he was in Zeb Wells' Hellions.
And that's how it's
So
like
when
what
you see
happens.
those characters, and this is how it happens. So when you see those characters like Strong Guy and Husk, and
Not Husk.
who
Husk has
have
been
these
in
like
some
really strong,
things.
who have these really strong fandoms, it was because they read like these like runs that were kind of good, and they had this character who had a really good part in it, and then we'll probably never see them again.
Yeah.
But they're still waiting.
Especially with Nanny, because
This
like in this we see they bring back up how Nanny was like a part of the right. And
yeah.
she had this like robot android baby thing that she is trying to get back, but she blew it all. I'm assuming the baby is also dead because she blew her old ship up by the end of the issue and has to have this whole separation with Peter. So like I get the hype behind Nanny because she has some great stuff in it, but she's also like a villain.
Everyone's in this. Everybody's bad, and I get it. Like the Hellions program is working. They're becoming closer. They're like gaining some type of morality or something like that. But it's like, are they? Just
Some
because
of
they're
them.
become, just because they're becoming friends, doesn't necessarily mean that they're like good.
Hmm. I'm okay with it. People can be bad in a comic book, and I can be
I'm
interesting.
fine with it. I love it. I just like I just don't feel bad for the bad things that are happening to them.
What would you rate this issue?
I'll rate it a 4 out of 5. Like again,
Same.
I think Wells does like everything really good in this book. He always mixes the emotion, he always mixes the humor, he always mixes like the pathos into it really well. Steven Segovia's art continues to be fantastic. He is like does great face acting with a lot of this stuff. I hope Wells doesn't leave the X books. I would love to see him on some other stuff. I kind of think Betsy might show up to like
Again?
to
Oh,
help
it's
that.
get her child back.
I don't know if get her child back, but like, I mean, I could just be making this up too because I feel like Wells and Teeny have been, Wells and Howard have been like, trading Quanon and Betsy back and forth and like how they're using them in the stories. I honestly do think it would be kind of nice if like Betsy shows up like in this moment of Quanon where she like feels very bad and she just had her daughter take her. She's like so depressed and like she doesn't feel like she knows where she's going now, and Betsy kind of is like, you help me, let me help you.
Oh, that would make them closer, probably. They'll become
Um,
sisters.
It would be nice. Then I'll never need to see them in a panel together again. But it would be nice for her to like pay it forward.
Yeah.
What would you rate it?
I would give it also a 4 out of 5. Um, I really enjoyed I've been loving Hellions. Top 2 for me, maybe the best one now the X-Men is done. Um, and I really enjoyed this issue. It's been a great run. I thought this was the last one, but I guess the next one is, I think,
What was this? This was 16. No, 18 is the last one.
18 is the last one. Okay, cool. So got a couple more issues then. So I'm with it.
Okay, shout out to them. And before we get to the last book of the week, I do want to shout out a couple of things that came out. Defenders from Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez. Number 3 was out. A really nice little story about magic and fun. Harpy, who is Betty Ross, has showed up, and the issue was focused on her. Swamp Thing, Ram V, and Mike Perkins. Again, like Ram and Al, they're just like really great guys. New Mutants also came out this week. Vita Ayala and Rod Rice. I personally didn't read it, but I heard a lot of really good things about the art in this one. And they said like it's probably one of Rice's definitive issues and how he draws it. It's about Shadow King, so I think I'm going to go back to Marvel Unlimited later on when it's on there and pick it up because I really like the Shadow King. So
yeah, for sure.
I want to see what's going on there. But our last book here for the day is Eternal Celestia, #1, and this one is Kieran Gillen, and I forgot who does the art. Hold on, let me look up the artist real quick.
The
Keizama.
art was by Keizama. Keizama?
Yeah. Ha. Oh, and Matthew Wilson does the colors. Matthew Wilson is one of my favorite colors, for those who don't know. Him and Matt Hollingsworth. Icons.
Okay. I do like the colors
But
of that statue that they had in there. This was great.
It was hot. Did you read this?
Of course I did. I think I'm ready to jump on the bandwagon and be like, I'm an Eternals fan. For sure. I had already liked all of the Gillen stuff that he was already doing, and these are kind of side issues right now with the last one, with the Thanos one, and now this one with Celestia. I've really been enjoying all of this. And they're kind of like, they're cosmic superpower people. Hello? Yeah, I'm gonna like that.
That's true.
And
this is like
this issue was pretty good. I actually will say that this is not my first introduction to Makari, the Eternal Makari, because I am a fan of Quasar, and Quasar and Makari were like good friends back when Quasar had his own solo series back in like the 90s, and the Makari that was back then he was a white dude that looked like the Flash. Like he was ginger hair and a white dude, and I will say I much prefer this updated version of Makari. I don't know. I was expecting there to be, because they are Eternals and because they like don't ever die and are revived or whatever, and they even mention some like changes that they could do to their bodies here. I thought that maybe they would like say that she changed it via like something, like give an explanation for it. Yeah. Because again, like I said, the Makari I knew was like a random white dude, and
no, this is just
Makari,
that MCU synergy.
Okay, it seems like they're probably not even gonna like explain it away. It's just
like you just need to accept it. That's who's showing up in the movie. That's who's in the comic book.
Yeah, and I prefer this version. She is like a darker skinned woman with she's hard of hearing, she's deaf, and she signs everything. And I thought that was really cool that how they showed the signing in this, because she is also super fast. So like her signing probably is really fast. I thought that was kind of cool.
Very interesting. I also love the dynamic between Makari and the other Celestial, and just talking about like how they were both women of faith, but like how they saw their faith differently, and like how they kind of worship the Eternals, and even as they go on like the pilgrimage to find out the answers for themselves, and like what that means to them, and like how for one the journey is the thing that helps you kind of like reinstall the faith and like see what's supposed to see. And Makari's just like, no, I already went and saw it, it's nothing there. And it's like,
right, yeah, she's like, I can run back and go see.
It's like, no, we need to focus on other things to like build our new god. And the other Celestial, why can't I remember her name real quick?
Ajak, the other Eternal?
Yes, Ajak. I could not remember her name. And Ajak is just like, no, like I still need that god to talk to me and all these things. And they go on there. We also see the flashback of her fighting the Avengers of the past, who has Fire Hair Phoenix and a young Odin and an older Iron Fist, and they're kind of like beating her down a little.
They are beating her down. Like my gosh.
I was like, damn. It was like, but again, like I think that was like she was like, the last person who they saw or who she was defending, like tried to kill all of them, and it's like, no, you're defending them, so it's like we're gonna beat you, and it's like surely they did, but as they're fighting her, she's getting like all this information about them, is starting to learn more about like some of the superpowered people in our world. And as we get back to the present, she and Makari are doing their pilgrimage. They run into a Celestial, which has now become the home base for the Avengers over in Jason Aaron's run. If you guys haven't been reading that, you can go back and read Heroes Reborn.
Well, they said that was like part of the plan. Like Ajak, I really liked how much Ajak talks about how like her thing was communicating with the Celestials, but like when God is no longer there, what role does she play? Like, what is she supposed to do? So she knew that there was that dead celestial body where the Avengers were, and they run up in it, and here comes Ghost Rider coming out. And I'm glad it wasn't
I
Carol.
know, right? I think it was sense for it to be Ghost Rider because again, like Ghost Rider was one of the people who had beat her down in the past, so it's like she needed to see that. Oh wow, is that why Echo was the Phoenix now? Because they got called back to like the past Avengers team.
Oh, and there was an Iron Fist that was on
There
that
was an
team, right?
Iron.
Is she like the Iron Fist analog, or is she the Phoenix?
She's the Phoenix analog. But Iron Fist Iron Fist popped up in the Moon Knight arc also.
Oh, okay.
So maybe Aaron's gonna like bring him back some way. They need to do something with Iron Fist. But nonetheless, she runs into Ghost Rider and he tells them like, oh, the Celestial said we could like live here. That's okay. And then that kind of infuriates Ajax. But Makari teleports them away, and then they have their own little fight, which I thought was really well done. Kizama's art was fantastic throughout this entire issue. Like, really enjoyed that a lot. And just like kind of the way that Makari talked about the fight. Again, shout out to the narration boxes making their return to comic books because they really do a lot. They really do a lot. And it's like seeing, like, getting that knowledge of how Makari stopped the fight and like kind of calmed Ajax down, and then how they came back together to be like, okay, how are we going to do this now? Again, Makari wants to build a god. Ajax is like, no, I want to kill the Avengers. And I think that's hot.
Which, I mean, it makes me feel like an Eternals versus Avengers thing is coming. I'm okay with that. That sounds hot.
A versus E, E versus A. I don't like either one of those acronyms, but
right. It seems like that's where it's coming because like she was dead set on like I'm gonna kill the Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much change on her mind.
So it's gonna be. I mean, it was an exciting issue. I think Kieran Gillen continues to kill it on the Eternals and like kind of redefining them and making them everything that they need to be. Especially as we ramp up into the movies coming, people are going to be excited. People now have an Eternals run to go back and read.
Yeah, this is definitely one that I would recommend to people. You know, going forward when people are like, "Oh, what do I do with the Eternals?" You could just start with this. And
okay. What would you rate this issue?
This one for me will also get another 4 out of 5. I think I really liked it. You know what? Yeah, I would give it that. I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying a lot of the like world building that's happening with the Celestials. For me, this is kind of the first time that I've been experiencing some with a few of them, outside of the ones that were Avengers when they had moments, like Gilgamesh and Cersei and Makari. But like outside of them, I don't know much about like the Eternals lore or any of that kind of stuff. So I've really been enjoying this. It hasn't really taken too much of a dip yet.
Yeah, I think I'm going like 4.5. Honestly, kind of like I'm teetering on a 5 out of 5. Like I really enjoyed this issue. I again, like as someone who doesn't know much about the Eternals, I love the world building aspect of it. I really enjoy conversations that pertain to faith and like belief and just like how people delve into it and how they're different. So all the stuff between Makari and Ajax was really interesting to me. I love the art. Kizama's panel layouts was really good. Again, like I just mentioned that fight between Makari and Ajax, like how he laid that out on the page, it was spectacular. And like showing like the bubble kind of getting smaller and Makari running all around it with super speed. Again, like you said, how she's signing super fast, all that felt, you could like see it. And it was hot. I was into it.
Yeah.
This is
probably
I really liked it. Book of the week, honestly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's really hard to top Eternals right now.
That's a word. Wow. Can you imagine? Like, who ever thought we would say something like that?
Who would ever thought? Yeah. Eternals was going to be the one. Yeah, here we are.
Eternals is the one. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, those are the books of the week. You guys tell us what you read, what you like, what you thought, all that good stuff. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll be right back. That I mean, but look at the things they tweet.
You mean too?
But I'm the problem. I'm not mean. I'm fine. These people, these people who are in these People are mean. Welcome back, everyone.
Yes. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so this week we are going to do a character panel on one of my favorite cosmic characters that I kind of got into recently, and that is Quasar, Wendell Vaughn. And I know you gave some back history on Star-Lord, and I appreciate you coming up into the cosmic world, but I want to talk about one of my favorite cosmic characters, and that is Mr. Wendell Vaughn Quasar. So, do you have too much history on like him?
No.
Quasar? Quasar? Wendell
Mm-hmm.
Vaughn Quasar? No, like I won't lie to you. I have no idea who this guy is. Outside, like he was just obviously in Al Ewing's Guardians book, popping up with the girl. I remember the girl from Avenger Standoff. Was that what that event was called?
Yes, that's where she got the band, the quantum bands.
The bands. I remember she popped up in that, and then she was in Secret Empire for a little bit. I've seen pictures of Quasar, and that like it's this one space image of like a bunch of these cosmic characters. It's got Ronin, it's got Gladiator, it's got Quasar, and
Yep.
some other space guys.
Silver
I know
Surfer. You're talking about
Yeah.
they are called the Annihilators. They all got together to form like a cosmic team.
Yeah,
They had a whole they had a really good run. I think I suggested to everybody it was written by Dan Abnett and Andy Landing, who also did the Thanos Imperative too, which was also really good. Suggest that if y'all trying to get into more cosmic stuff.
I remember Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning were like running the cosmic scene for a little while at Marvel.
That
like
was
remember that.
that was like my like my hot era, because like they were doing all this stuff with Annihilation and War of Kings and Realm of Kings and all this other stuff that was going on off in the cosmic stuff, and they were bringing in some characters from Earth, but most of it was just all the cosmic characters. So the Draxes and the Novas that were out there.
They did a really good run of Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I've said that. In Star-Lord, they did that. Recommend shout out to them.
Yeah,
that's
big shout out to
back. Them. Wake that up.
That's who we need somebody like that to kind of really wake up the cosmic area right now. But to get into Quasar, so I will say that Wendell, in my opinion, is like he's a cool character. I really like the quantum bands, maybe a little bit more than I like Wendell, but he's still like he's a pretty cool character. But we'll talk about the quantum bands a little bit later. But Wendell got the bands basically he was a SHIELD agent, so he's been trained and all that kind of stuff in SHIELD, but he's better at espionage than like the straight up like hardcore tactics and stuff.
Okay.
And the quantum bands are with SHIELD because previously there was this character named Marvel Boy who actually was a Atlas Comics characters. This is where we get a little bit more legal than like the comic books people. And Atlas Comics is what Marvel Comics used to be, because Marvel Comics like bought Atlas and they gained the rights to this character, and they ended up using him as a villain in their books, even though he was a hero, I think, in the Atlas Comics world. They used him as a villain. He died, and when he died, his Uranian bands, what they were called back then, fell, and the Fantastic Four actually took them to SHIELD to like keep safekeeping or whatever. So fast forward to the 90s, they start using these bands again. This time they kind of call them the quantum bands, and they needed people to kind of try to put them on. This is where the writer, I think at the time, was kind of throwing shade at Green Lantern, because not only do these bands give you basically Green Lantern powers, not on the scale of a Green Lantern as far as the constructs go, and all that kind of stuff. You basically become psychokinetic and all that kind of stuff. It can make some constructs, but you're not doing the same kind of stuff as a Green Lantern. But one of the persons who tried the bands on looked exactly like Hal Jordan and was like that show-offy kind of guy. And when he tried to put him on, he died.
Okay.
And when Wendell put the bands on, they worked, and he was able to use them and everything. And he was.
So does he put them on right after the guy dies?
Yes, because right after the guy dies, they end up getting attacked by AIM. The guy's
Oh,
like, he puts
okay.
them on, he's practicing with them and everything, and then all of a sudden the energy, like the quantum energy of the bands goes crazy, and he ends up like burning up and evaporating. And at that exact moment, also like AIM attacked the shield base and was looking for whatever. But Wendell put the bands on because he saw them, put them on, and he was the one that like defeated AIM and sent them away. He learned that the reason he was able to use the bands was because he doesn't have a like he's very go with the flow, which is
Hmm.
like the flow of energy. In order for you to be able to use the quantum bands, you can't have like a very like killer instinct. You have to be very like, hey,
Oh,
chill, lay back.
I guess I'm out.
I think that's why I like him. He's like pretty chill. And in order for you to use the quantum bands, you have to be very like mellow and kind of like think first a little bit instead of just
Hmm.
rush off into something, um, which we'll talk about later because Nova, I've got a bone to pick with Richard Rider.
Oh,
But
I'm always
anyway,
down for a Richard Rider drag.
yeah. So Wendell has these bands on, and now he basically becomes the superhero Quasar. He called himself Marvel Boy for a little bit, but he ends up going by Quasar. He joins the Avengers and is basically like the cosmic one on the team. Um,
Okay.
and during this time, he had a pretty solid solo series. Actually, he had a solo run that lasted for 60 issues. I forget right or no.
You said 60 issues?
Yeah, he was
Quasar.
uh, he was pretty popular back in the 90s.
Okay. Shout out to
Yeah.
the Quasar fans. 60
If
issues.
there's one thing I have learned about a lot of different characters is like if you want your favorite character to really kind of grow and like get pushed, they really need to become a part of like really cemented in the corner of the Marvel
Hmm.
universe. And you
Yeah.
pretty much can't really do a lot of anything cosmic without without Quasar.
Okay. Go.
I mean,
That shout out to him.
they even brought him back from nothing just to have him in Guardians of the Galaxy again, because before this he wasn't around.
So, do you think, like, does the costume hit? Like, what are the color schemes? Does it have the galaxy print? Do you think that was a addition to his popularity?
I think honestly his popularity was he was Marvel's Green Lantern without them having to have a Green Lantern core. I think that's another thing why I like about the Quantum Bands was that they were like they are it's a way for you to be a Green Lantern without also being a cop because you become a protector of the universe. You're not like an authority figure. The way
Mm.
that the bands work, they were created by a like this big cosmic thing called Eon. He is like
Hmm.
this big cosmic concept basically, and Eon makes these quantum bands and to pick protectors of the universe.
Hmm.
Originally, his original protector was the original Captain Marvel, but for whatever reason,
Mm.
he didn't get the quantum bands because the Kree, who people probably have learned by now aren't like the nicest people all the time,
Okay.
and usually try to kind of get ahead. Um, they knew about the quantum bands and created their own bands called like the nega bands, and
Okay,
that
so I
is
was
what Captain
honestly
Marvel
just about to ask,
uses.
like, is there a difference
Yeah.
between the quantum bands and the nega bands? Because I know the nega bands. I've heard of those a couple times. I've seen a
Yes.
few pictures with those. Um,
So those ones are the ones that the Kree created because they knew about the quantum bands and like they wanted to have their own. So they made
and do they do
those.
the same
And
things like the quantum bands and the nega bands?
no, the nega ones just make you like super strong and like invulnerable and fly that kind of stuff. Like you're the quintessential superhero. Well, as like the quantum bands give you control of quantum energy. So you're like kind of a
Yeah.
Green Lantern.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so Wendell has these bands and he basically becomes Quasar. He's doing that for a while. And he has this pretty long series that lasts for 60 issues. And then after it gets canceled, he ends up um, basically kind of being like with the Avengers again for a while, and they would whenever they would have their kind of cosmic events, they had like the Operation Galactic Storm or anything like that. He was kind of like weaved in and out. But during his the Infinity War is when he really got to be used again, because he was the one that's supposed to fight Thanos. They ended up revealing more about the quantum bands through this. Eon, who created them, said that their protectors are supposed to prevent like the one thing that's going to destroy the universe. And Eon wouldn't tell the person what, like, I don't know. I thought it was weird. Eon doesn't have the knowledge to tell them what the thing was going to be. He just knew that they needed to be the protector of that thing. So like,
Okay.
it was like, oh, this great cosmic being, and I know that there's going to be some event that's going to cause like a big cosmic death, and I need a protector for it. I just don't know when it's going to happen. And throughout the 60 issues is when you kind of go through all of this, and then we learn that later what was going to happen was there was this villain named Maelstrom, who is part inhuman, part deviant, and he's got powers to control like some kind of energy, like this vibrational kind of energy, and he like ends up going off and killing Eon somehow, like getting like these great cosmic powers, killing Eon, and like that caused the quantum bands to kind of falter off, and then Thanos gets involved in all of this, and it turns out that Quasar's big thing was to like fight Thanos and like defeat that.
So is Maelstrom also like considered one of Quasar's big villains then?
Yeah, that's like he's one of his big villains. I've actually seen recently that Maelstrom has kind of popped up in some stuff. He looks like this weird like creature with this purple costume or whatever. So I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe that means Quasar might be doing something, but that's like his main villain.
So who are Quasar's friends? Like, who does he hang out with? Who does he talk to? Who are his connections? Like, when he was in the Avengers, like, who was he friends with? Like, where could you see him kind of popping up again or guest starring?
So, funny enough, his best friend was Makari, the Eternal, the Super Speed, one. The original one. Yeah. Okay. So, like, they were actually friends, and really, really great friends. Well, I don't really know if I could really say really great friends. There is an arc during all of this where Quasar was kind of dating his secretary because he started his own business, because he wanted to have his own secret identity outside of being Quasar. He started his own business, and he started dating his secretary. And I think there may have been like some allegations against him back in this 90s or something, because they had an explicit conversation where the girl asks him like, "Oh, do you like women? And like, do you
okay, I see what you're saying."
Because like he never, like, in all of his runs, he never has like a romantic partner or any kind of romance. It's truly just him going off and using his powers off in space and like doing missions and stuff, wondering about when the big thing is going to happen where he would have to fight the thing that's going to end the universe and all that stuff. But he never really had any like romance stuff. So I was wondering if that was some kind of meta commentary about what was going on back then with him.
Okay.
Yeah, but as far as his friends go, Makari was one, and while he was dating the secretary, Makari ended up like also hooking up with her, where Quasar came back from a mission and flew into his room and was going to like say, not his own apartment, he flew to her place because he wanted to say hi to her, and Makari and her were like getting it on.
Wow.
Flew in, saw it, and then like flew out, and yeah, it's pretty bad. But turns out that all of that was actually happening because Moondragon was the one who was telepathically making them fall for each other, because she felt that it was her like celestial destiny to be with Quasar, which later we found out it was a Quasar, but it was Philip.
Oh, okay, wow. Oh, that's cute.
When Philip got, because later on, so he has this whole superhero thing, with the bands or whatever. He ends up like dying and losing the bands, and basically becomes like quantum energy. And they needed someone else to kind of get the bands, and that's when you get Philip gets them. And for those who don't know about Philip, I've talked about her in the Guardians runs and stuff. Phila is Hulkling's sister. She's also like a kid of Captain Marvel, the original male Captain Marvel.
The
Marvel.
current one in Guardians is like an alternate reality. Both, yeah, well, the Moon Dragons kind of like merged, but they came from
Yeah.
alternate reality
It's
during
all
that whole
it's all
Infinity
the
Wars
same.
thing.
Whatever.
They really are. They really are.
Mhm.
They've done those two kind of dirty over the years. So,
They really have. Um
um,
and
so Quasar's friends. So Makari, is there anyone?
mhm.
Did he have beef with anyone? So did he not get along with Richard Rider? Is that why you had a bone to pick with him?
No, so the beef that goes on with Richard Rider was they were kind of friends or whatever because the Nova Corps was like the Green Lanterns of the Marvel universe. So they were
Mm-hmm.
also out in space doing cosmic stuff. So of course they would be friendly out there. The issue comes in during the big Annihilation run. So
Mm-hmm.
Annihilation is this big cosmic event. I definitely recommend it to everyone. Lots of great bombastic stuff that happens in it. A lot of fun. I really hope that they either animate it or do it in live action. I need something because it's great. It's definitely one of my top events. And during this run, the Annihilation wave is coming in. Annihilus is from the negative zone. He's this big like creature, kind of insectoid creature, and he's got these big insectoid creatures that he's just causing mass destruction throughout the galaxy. And he destroys the Nova planet, Xandar, completely destroys that. Nova gets off of the planet and finally gets into this ship and makes it over to where Quasar is.
Mm-hmm.
Quasar is like already helping some refugees that have like escaped previous annihilation like wave attacks. And then all of a sudden, Annihilus shows up with his big annihilation wave. Same annihilation wave that we saw the X-Men fight. So, which I thought was kind of cool. So they come and, whenever you see like a big wave, a big armada
Yeah.
come,
Yeah.
most people want to think things through, right?
Yeah.
Nova was like, well, I'm going to be the hero and rush off. And of course, Quasar was like, no, why don't we think about this first? But he ran off and was like, I'm just going to kill everyone because the Annihilation Wave destroyed Xandar.
Mm-hmm.
And Quasar, of course, was like, well, of course, I'm going to go run to help you and fight with you. And then he got killed by Annihilus.
Oh, so Richard Rider is responsible for Wendell Vaughn dying. I
Yes.
understand now.
Yes.
I get it.
They ended up getting captured by Annihilus, and Annihilus has his cosmic control rod, which controls all energy, which Quasar in his quantum bands is like energy itself. It's connected to the quantum zone. So he destroyed him and
Oh
killed him.
wow.
Took his quantum bands.
Damn. Damn, that's sad. So
So, yeah.
now that you know, like you've gotten into Wendell, how did you feel about his use in the Guardians run? Now that you're a little bit more into him.
I will say that I was a little let down, mostly because I was excited to see him because I was so into him and I was like, oh, great, we're going to see him more in the current stuff. But that run kind of ran so short and they were mostly using the girl. I can't think of her name. Um,
Cecily, Avril,
yes, no,
Avril Kincaid.
Avril. Where'd you get Cecily?
No, Cecily Kincaid is Mercury from the new X-Men,
Yes,
but
yes.
she's Avril
Avril. I wonder if they're
Kincaid.
related.
Gosh, I hope not.
Hmm. Yeah. Avril was mostly kind of used in the book. I mean, Wendell had a couple of moments too, but that kind of ran really short. Um, they aren't supposed to actually be able to trade places like that. That was something that I felt like Ewing brought back in order to bring Wendell back to
Wendell.
life. So I'll appreciate I'll take it, because after he was killed by Annihilus and Annihilation Wave, he became through comic book whatever. The original Shield practice that he was a part of, it was called Team Pegasus. They were doing this research and they ended up bringing him back, but in a quantum form, like he was just energy. And
Mm,
through comic books, he ended up like coming back to life with a body, a new costume, and
mm.
he got back to life to the costume that he has now in the Guardians.
Okay.
But then he took the bands off, and this is when because they were introducing Avril, and they were saying that he was losing control of them, and he gave them to Avril as like, you should be the new Quasar,
Mm,
but
okay.
he should
So
have because they're all supposed to be one pair of them.
So
Can't like
what? So like I guess now going forward, since they are in this place of them being switching back and forth, um, how would you want them to kind of like continue on?
I would want them to kind of do something where we could fix it where they don't have to switch anymore, and maybe we could have just the two quasars. Um,
Even though
I
there's
don't know.
only supposed to be one pair of bands.
Right, right. Even though there's one to be kind of one pair of bands. Because I don't want to say get rid of Avril because that's rude.
Okay. I mean, this is a safe space. So if
Is it a
you
safe
know,
space?
this
Because
is
I
a
would
safe
say
space.
we can just get rid of her and
And
because
they're
I
just
it and then just
they
have
can't
the
be
one.
like even if they okay, so let's say they were to get separated, would you still want them to both act as quasars like team going around together, or like would you want to see like one quasar in space, one quasar on the Avengers?
Um, definitely I would have it be where one is in space and one is with the Avengers or something like that. Um,
Bonding best friends?
hmm, no. Actually, maybe. You know what? Actually, that wouldn't be bad if they bonded and become good friends because I've got something that I'll talk about later in my relaunch that you know what? Sure.
Okay.
Maybe we could you know what? I would want something that would happen where I think I would give something where because Quasar probably kind of had his time or whatever, you know, I would do something where he would kind of like ascend and do something where he would just, I don't know, become one with the quantum zone or something, and he becomes
Mm-hmm.
the new Eon, and he comes in like Eon is basically like the Zordon from the Power Rangers for the bands. Like it gives you information, it talks to you, and all that kind of stuff. And I would probably do something like that. Like he just becomes the new one. Because after Eon was
Okay.
killed, he was like he kind of resurrected as a baby, and it was this like baby Eon thing called Epoch.
They love
Um,
bringing them back as babies.
right. Which is weird because it's probably just himself. I don't know. Cosmic stuff gets a little wild. But they
Talk
brought
about
Eon
magic.
back as just a baby. You can follow it though.
Well, what's okay? I won't get into that. I won't like rain on your cosmic parade. But so I guess with Wendell,
hmm
would you want him to be like? Let's say you get the two quasars, they're separated, they're like doing their thing now. Do you want, even though I know you love space, do you want him to be the one of the quasar of the Avengers or a quasar in space? I feel like
I
the
would
quasar
probably
of the
want him to continue.
Avengers
Oh yeah.
would be more beneficial.
Yes. That's where I want him there because then he could be seen.
Yeah.
And if we were going to separate the two of them and have each have bands, she can go off into space and like have some fun adventures out there while he gets
She can stay a
reestablished with the
guardian.
Avengers.
That
She can
would be
stay
a
a
nice
guardian.
little way to differentiate them. So you have like your Quasar of the Avengers and your Quasar of the Guardians. That would be
There you
cute.
go. Yeah.
I'm into that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who do you want writing Wendell right now?
I really would love if I was gonna say Ewing because I was enjoying the stuff that was going on in Guardians. It just kind of fell short, especially for
Mm-hmm.
me as like a Quasar fan. I thought we were gonna get a little bit more of it, but it was kind of overran by lots of tie-ins.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that Ewing curse it seems like of too many tie-ins.
There.
So I would probably want. I don't know. I would honestly would love if DNA came back and
Okay. That's
kept
the
it
word.
going. That'd be hot. But sometimes we should get some fresh stuff in there. So maybe it's just somebody new.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you this: who do you want? Because we all know like the visuals also matter. Who do you want drawing Quasar right now?
Ooh. I would definitely want a redesigned costume and a new look for him by Carmen Canero. The way that she drew
Mm.
like that first run of Captain Marvel, I would love that
Hmm.
kind of stuff for Quasar.
Okay. Okay. Karma Canero. We'll put
It'd be
that out
hot.
into the universe.
Yes.
Mm, that would be a hot little series. Whoever's right, like
Mm-hmm.
Ewing and Canero doing Quasar, and
That'd
you
be
get both.
hot. That'd be hot. Get some quantum band energy up in there. That'd be
Mhm.
great. And like I said, it's a lot of fun with those kind of powers. You can do whatever you kind of want with them. And the name Quasar doesn't necessarily come with the bands. He just called himself Quasar. You don't have to go by Quasar to have the bands. You just become your title is you're the protector of the universe.
Would you want a different name?
No.
Okay.
No, because I like it. I would want them to stay as the protector of the universe.
Avril can get the different name though.
She can go do whatever.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So that is my little character corner on Quasar. Please let me know if you end up getting interested in him and want some recommendations on like where to get more of him. I definitely say Annihilation, also the Thanos Imperative, and Annihilators. Also afterwards, get some Silver Surfer and some of those other characters in there, and definitely check it out. We're gonna take a break and then we'll come right back.
I've got all these like cute little headbands now because they don't make good headbands for men. As I realized, as I was like searching for them on like Amazon and like just shops and everything, they're always these like thick camo or like electric pattern design, and they're always red, black, blue, or green. And I'm like, what's going on here? But then you look at the ladies' headband section, they've got these floral prints, they've got some polka dots, it's like all this
Some
nice
wraps.
colors and things. I was like, oh wow, this is great. So I bought a bunch of women's headbands, and I'm very excited for them.
I love them. They look cute.
Thank you. They're mostly to like hide when I don't have a haircut. Yeah. There we go for that. But welcome back everyone to your favorite part of the show. It is the relaunch. And we have groups of characters here for you guys this week. Would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
You know what? I can go first. Okay, so
Okay.
we were just talking about Quasar during the character panel, and my relaunch is going to be for a new wearer of the quantum bands. Yes, it's time for a new one. I know we have Avril, but she didn't hit. It's time for a new one. Now, how would I get
Okay.
us to the point of having more quantum bands? Well, I explained before that Eon created the original quantum bands, and then he died and got reborn as Epoch as his like baby. I would have it where Epoch needed his own protector and, created his own quantum bands and got a new protector. And I would have it where the Wendell and maybe even Avril were kind of like upset about it, probably because this new quantum band wearer is out there like protecting the world, and Epoch kind of just moved on beyond them because they are now like kind of relics of the past. I probably have Wendell actually become like one with the quantum zone so that he can like lose his quantum bands, and Avril can even kind of keep hers, but he would just become like quantum energy himself. Probably give him his own powers, like have him
Okay.
his own maybe quantum form or something like that. Just give him his own things where he doesn't need the bands at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Avril can keep the bands that she has, but I would have a new one created.
To do that.
Mhm.
Okay. So a
He
brand
can
new
go back. He can
Quasar.
go back Quasar. Sure.
He Quasar as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel like you don't really like Wendell that much then.
I do. I think that he would be great to like mentor the new one as well. Cause like he would become quantum energy and can kind of mentor the new one. And also like kind of keep in touch with Avril because then she would have her own quantum bands and like he would be like the new like
you're
liaison for the two.
you are really trying to get Afro out of here. I love it. You are really trying to get her out of here. I
I
feel like
just
that is
want like a
okay.
nice. I think we should have a nice like a new quantum barrier, like a nice black character. I would love to have like a black
Okay.
space character. I don't got no black like space
That's true. There,
cosmic
Gamora.
character. Boo. Anyway, we don't have anybody with like any black cosmic characters, and I would love if we got like a new black Quasar.
Okay. Well, shout out to that. Let's put that through the universe. Love that relaunch. Okay, my relaunch for the excuse me, is actually a team, one that I've kind of been missing throughout the Marvel universe, and that is the Secret Avengers.
Oh,
We've got Savage right now, we've got Aaron's going right now. The secret kind of team was always the one who's like caught up in the government antics where you can always find the good mess, the politics and things like that. And so I would like this team to be led by two individuals, one being Mockingbird and the other being Nick
okay.
Fury
I
Jr.
like that.
These are two characters who
Oh,
are very prominent in the spy world, and I actually enjoy both of them. Highly recommend Mockingbird series to anyone who hasn't read it. I also recommend the Nick Fury Jr. series to anyone who hasn't read it. They're both characters who have a lot of experience, and they will be leading kind of like their own little ragtag group of like not newbies, but I guess like not the most experienced heroes,
hmm.
and kind of like especially in this like new espionage type world. And that team would be Speedball, Firebird. I would
Ooh,
bring in Scar, who is Hulk's son. For those who don't know, he just popped up again in Gamma Flight. Um, Mantis would come in as a team telepath, and then I would also bring back Julia Carpenter for this group, and those would be our new Secret Avengers. And if I can take them back from Sunspot, I would like to bring in AIM as kind of working as like their big science team. They would still be like working for the good guys, but they would just be working under these Secret Avengers because Mockingbird is a biologist, and I like to keep her in that realm.
okay. You know I like AIM, so.
Yeah, but that is my
All
relaunch for
right.
the week.
I'm into that. Let's put that out to the universe because Mockingbird deserves. I always really liked her.
She's
I
great,
wish
and
she
she's
was
a
around
Gemini.
more.
That is in canon.
I don't know how great that is. I don't know.
Shout out. And shout out to Adrian Palecki also because she did the damn thing as Mockingbird in Agents of
She
Shield.
did.
Okay, like she ate
Yes,
that up. I'll never forget that first
she did.
episode where she came swinging those batons. Baby, I
So,
stand. And
yeah.
they did her dirty. They did her dirty by not giving her that spinoff because she
Hmm.
deserved it.
She woke it up. She
She
really
deserved
like put Mockingbird like on the map with that one.
it. Okay, she was especially when Chelsea Kane did the like feminist shirt for cover for Mockingbird, and
Hmm.
then like she
Yes.
created the photo. Hot,
Hot.
hot.
That was hot. Yeah.
Oh, if they do any MCU like pulling from the other universes, that's one I really want.
Get Mockingbird in there, and she really liked the character too. And it seemed
She
like she
was,
had been trying to be some kind of action girl. She almost was in that Wonder Woman show.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I
she
think that
she deserves.
yeah. All right, y'all. So that brings us to the end of the show, but we did want to make an announcement that we will be reading the X-Men event Inferno next week. So just make sure you guys
Mhm.
join in for that. We will be reading X Factor issues 33 through 36 and Uncanny X-Men 239 to 241. And this will be a lot of fun because I personally think that I haven't read this in a while. I haven't read
Same.
Inferno in like a couple years, I think. And before that, it was even longer. But I recall really having a feeling that I would like this to be the way the mutants are introduced. Like, I think the
Into the
Marauders
MCU.
should be. I think the Marauders should be the first villains of the MCU
Okay.
because it's different than the Brotherhood. You know, we don't want to repeat the Fox stuff, and the X-Men are gonna need somebody to fight that's not like robots. So
That is true. That is true. I'm into it. I mean, we'll wake that up during the reread portion of it.
yeah, yeah.
Inferno's a good one though. It's a fun story. Madeline Pryor has her fans and her detractors. We'll get
Child,
into
this is gonna
that.
be fun. Oh
I'm
God.
sure. That whole situation with her and Gene Scott. That's gonna be fun to revisit. And it's Halloween month. This is a good
And
little spooky
Polaris is a
season
villain
story.
in this, and it's like
Polaris is
she
in it.
she gets stomped down by Storm, I think, at some point. This
This
is
is gonna be good. I'm excited.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Make sure you check us out anywhere your podcasts are found. You can watch us on YouTube. I'm getting up out of here because I am hungry, and Chipotle is my name. So let's get up out of here. We'll talk to you next week.
Yes. Peace out.
Bye.